Hello everyone, it's History Behind the Warrior, and welcome back to another Mortal Kombat 1 video, with us still simmering down from last week's trailer that was just straight up fucking incredible. Today, I wanted to touch on something that did surface from the trailer that has been kind of irking me since said reveal, and that is what exactly is going on with Smoke. You see, Smoke has always been a fan-beloved character, more so his human counterpart than that of his cybernetic one. But even so, in each and every different timeline, he is fated to fall to a terrible demise, one by machine or one by demon. But in this new timeline, this new era, is this yet another tragedy that will befall the ninja once again? And if so, how could this happen? Well, that is what we will be exploring and breaking down today. But before we do begin, I do want to say a huge thank you for the love and support from last week's video. As some of you do know, my reaction video was unfortunately hit with the dreaded yellow symbol of death. And you guys absolutely knocked me off my feet with the amount of love and support that video had. I don't normally point out stuff like this, but I do want you to all know that your love and support here is always appreciated, and it definitely does not go unnoticed. It's very humbling, so I do wish to say thank you once more. Anywho, let's get into things. Now, you're probably wondering here, hey, where does this idea come from? Or you might even be in the camp of, you're talking a crock of shit. To which I say, calm down, because I do want to highlight that this is a theory. However, it is most certainly one that is based in reality for this franchise, as all of my ideas and concepts right now really revolve around one particular character, Bi-Han. The revived and restored Sub-Zero resumes his mantle in this new era and timeline. However, unlike the original canon, he has most recently gained the title of Kuei Grand Master, a feat that hasn't yet been achieved by this character. And you'd think, with his restoration to his original form and working alongside Liu Kang, he would be set down a better path. But we simply couldn't be more wrong. From early access previews, as well as the stress test, it more or less revealed that Bi-Han would be an opposing force against the Fire God, with it being further solidified in both his bio and the Lin Kuei trailer, as he is opposed to the passive Lin Kuei practice of merely defending Earthrealm, when they could instead be taking lead and charge of their own future, pushing the clan's own priorities ahead of Liu Kang. But how does Smoke come into the equation here? Well, this largely plays into the dialogue from the trailer, as well as the family dynamic that has just recently been established through Smoke's bio. We thought that the original change, with Scorpion and Sub-Zero being brothers, was the biggest twist of the tale here. But in Smoke's bio, it does confirm that the trio would be raised together by the Grand Master after his family was accidentally killed. It creates this very intriguing, yet strange brotherhood amongst the three, something that's never been previously explored. However, I do believe that this is what will ultimately be the catalyst of the Lin Kuei's implosion. Now, to really understand this, we have to analyze the relationships between the three brothers, just to understand the dynamic they have. And from Bi-Han's perspective, it doesn't really seem like he's had much care for his brothers, or even his own family, as it was him that struck down their father, the Grand Master, to then ascend and take his role. And let's face it, Bi-Han in the past has always been known to have a cold and very cutthroat personality, even against those on his side. And whilst the noob Cybot persona further deepened that coldness, if anything, it was a mantle that suited Bi-Han far greater than the title of Sub-Zero ever did. The manner of this clearly hasn't changed, even in the new timeline. So whilst I'm sure he does at least have some care for his brother, and maybe Smoke, it's abundantly clear that his vision of the Lin Kuei eclipses any affection he has From Scorpion's perspective, who is presumably Kuei Liang, it is yet to be confirmed. He seems to have a very interesting relationship with the pair, whilst understandably not entirely pleased with Bi-Han's actions of slaying their father. He can't help but at least be very proud of his brother, as it is under a stronger hand. However, his vision of the Lin Kuei is one that actively defies tradition. For Scorpion fears that this vision will pit the two against each other. Now, his relationship with Smoke, on the other hand, seems to be far better. Whilst not explicitly explored in their bio, the significance of their brotherhood is tapped into during the trailer, where we get a bit of exposition between the two.
Whatever it takes, I am with you. We may not share blood, but we are brothers.
Now, this is a really nice nod back on some old nostalgic lines from MK9, but this time between Bi-Han and Kuei Liang.
Brother, we share blood. We are not brothers.
From what you can tell, originally the dialogue was used for Bi-Han to disown his brother, but here it's used in a completely different manner, in one of acceptance, which is a really nice bit of nostalgic wordplay, especially if that is indeed Kuei Liang. It shows the huge contrast between these two different Sub-Zeros, with one surging for power, whilst the other looks for brotherhood. So, with us knowing that Smoke has made the Lin Kuei's ambitions his own, he does seem very loyal to the clan, or at least he was. Moving on to Smoke, things look to be very interesting on this front, because whilst that relationship with Scorpion seems to be on extremely good terms, his relationship with Bi-Han looks to be a completely different conversation, because whilst the two only interact once, the lore implications surrounding them really do paint something interesting, especially when we take into account the rest of the context of this trailer. Whilst devoted to the clan, it seems like Smoke was more so devoted to the very man that saved his life, the one who gave him a home and a family after a tragic mistake. But then that man would be killed by someone he called his brother, so Smoke once again has to deal with losing another father figure. Thus, I can imagine there's some bad blood between the two, let alone the fact that Bi-Han intends to warp his legacy, and it's also touched on in the trailer here.
We will achieve greatness.
We can't abandon tradition.
Further reinforcing the point that I don't think these two are on the same terms as he is with Scorpion. Now, keeping in mind everything else that is going on with the trailer here, it's very clear that something or someone does bear interest in the power of the Lin Kuei. And whilst we don't know who this figure is yet, my money is on Shao. It wouldn't surprise me if he was reaching out to Bi-Han, offering him an opportunity to create the Lin Kuei in his vision, a world devoid of Lu and his overbearing protection. And we can tell from this little bit of dialogue here.
We will achieve greatness.
He even sounds drastically different, far more grim and dark than he has been. So it looks like even in this new timeline and world, Bi-Han will be falling back into his old ways. But how does Smoke fall into the equation here? Well, unlike Scorpion, who seems to remain more silent towards his brother's ambitions, Smoke is far more open in this regard to what Bi-Han's beliefs are. He simply does not stand by his vision, which means that it's only a matter of time before he sees them as insubordinates amongst his ranks. Will this necessarily lead to Smoke's death? Because, understandably, this is a rather bold statement, but I do think so. One of the most clear and obvious things is that the feud between Sub-Zero and Scorpion is a fixed point in time. And whilst I can see Scorpion overlooking the death of their father, as it is a way to better their clan, I could see that whatever becomes of Smoke, eventually becoming the tipping point of their relationship. So I have a sneaking suspicion that it will be Smoke's death at the hands of Bi-Han that will cause him to turn. Now, Smoke dying here isn't exactly the end of the character. It's Mortal Kombat, for God's sake. No one stays dead. I mean, the plot alone looks to be revolving around Onaga and his undead army. But Smoke's possible demise could in turn lead to a far more prosperous future, tapping into either two different character routes he could ultimately take. So, if he is to die, he could be reunited with the Enenra demon, giving him the Smoke powers that he did have in a past life. So in death, he gains his supernatural properties. Or there is the other avenue of the Cyber Initiative, something that could actually work here, as it would show a spin on Bi-Han's tyranny over the Lin Kuei, and just how desperate he'll become in order to change the established canon. But one thing cannot be dismissed, and that's the different interpersonal connected relationships for this new established family. Because as the saying goes, the more things change, the more they stay the same. So with that said, everyone, what are your thoughts on this happening? With all the craziness that's going on, with multiverses, time travel, and canon events in mainstream media, do you think a very similar, yet different path will be taken with Smoke as a character? Because a lot has drastically been changed, with Scorpion and Sub-Zero alone, carving a very new and very different path for how this narrative unfolds. Please do comments down below, as I'd love to hear what you have to say. But for now, everyone, that has been it for me. So stay strong, stay well, and keep on fighting. Take care, everyone. I'll catch you all soon.